have the answers pre-written already, that's why I said that. I could show you the answers, but if you want to see the work that's written,
I answered all.
You can show us the answers, and if a lot of people get it wrong, then show us something.
Sure. Number 1 should be 4x minus 6. So the less than there is subtracting. And it's weird because anytime it says less than, you take whatever this is, put it as an n. Number 2, you should have gotten a fraction or a decimal. If you put the decimal, put all of the decimal digits. But 55 over 13 should have been that fraction. 4.2 and other repeating numbers was the decimal.
Okay.
For number 3, we should have gotten negative 16. Anthony. 3? Yes. Any others on this page? We're going to go over 3. We haven't gotten to 4 and 5 yet, but hold that thought. Okay, so I'm going to walk through what I have and then show you how you would do it on the calculator. So this is negative 4 times the cube root. Guys, listen. Negative 4 times the cube root, not negative 4 cubed times the square root. Two different things. So I would use parentheses if you're not sure, just ask. But times the cube root, so we're putting in 125. And then when you put in your negative 2, use parentheses. Because if you don't use parentheses or you put the square inside, you're going to get a negative when you should get a positive. And then this would become 5 because you're thinking of what times itself 3 times would give you 125. 5 is that answer. This would become a positive 4, multiply before you add, and you would get negative 16. But in your calculator, I did this earlier, but I'm going to show you again. I could type in negative 4, math, number 4, to get my cube root, 125, come out of it. And then we're adding, in parentheses, put negative 2, and outside of those parentheses, put square. And you would get negative 16. Other questions on that side? On our current test? No. I don't know why I said that. These are past algebra things that you should know. I'm just re-bringing it back up. So, no. Evaluating is not something we're going to science. Okay, so I'm going to walk through this part. The other part is just a double check. So we need to distribute this fraction to both of these, multiply directly across. So negative 4 over 40. This would be negative or positive 24 over 8. It's just not written. And then we're solving for x. So get rid of 3 by subtracting. Get rid of this fraction. Instead of dividing, it's already a fraction. Flip this and multiply it on both sides. So we get positive 20. And then in bright pink, whatever color that is, if you put 20 back in, we get a true statement. So it works. Questions about that one? Number 5, when you simplified, you should have gotten 30x minus 51. Questions on that one? Mm-hmm. Before we do our notes for today, I wanted to show you one thing on the Khan Academy that's due Friday. Let me know when you finish. x to add up that entire thing. This is fine. Okay. Calm down. Alright, if you get something like this on the linear equations in any form, you could do this a couple different ways. One, if you have a y-intercept that goes through the lines exactly, count your slope, write your y-intercept, write your equation, done. If not, like this one doesn't go through there exactly, it doesn't want you to do the entire thing. It wants you to find your slope and write it in point slope form, but not actually solve it. So count your slope, however you do that. Here I'd be going down 1 to the right 2, so my slope would be negative 1/2. And then I want to use one of these points and use my point slope form. So if you want to write down what those points are, this one's 1, -4, and this one's 3, -5. So you just need one of those? Doesn't matter which one. And then use your y minus y1. So let's say I'm using 1, -4. This will be y minus -4 equals my slope. And then x minus my xy. It does want you to simplify if you have like minus minus, but it doesn't want you to multiply all of this. So you would put this in as your answer, and that would be it.
That's it?
That's it. Yeah, these are actual questions. It does look undone, because we would keep going. But this doesn't want you to have fractions as your y-intercept, so it's making you stop there. So the other answer to this would be, and I didn't need to show this. If I use this one, this would be +5 equals -1/2 x minus 3. So it would accept either one of those. So you just have to find your slope and then put it in point slope form. What is this? Okay. Questions about that? Okay, so at the end of class, when you guys have time to practice, if you need my help with that, we can go through that. I need to pass out notes. Alright, and then with this, if this is in slope-intercept form, we're going to first find and plot our y-intercept. So for number 1, what is our y-intercept?
+3.
+3, so we would plot 3 along our y-axis. And then we need to plot as many points as we can for our slope. Our slope here is what?
-1.
-1. What directions can we go to get a negative slope? Down and to the right, and down and to the right, and
Up and to the left.
up and to the left. Okay, so our slope is -1, so we can go down 1, right 1, or up 1, left 1. We're going to do that. We're going to do both of those. From your y-intercept, go down 1, right 1, as many times as you can. Plot all the points until you fill up your graph. And then go back to your y-intercept and do the same thing, but do the opposite. Go up one, left one, as many times as possible. Fill up your graph. Once you've filled up your entire graph, connect your dots, make a line. Draw arrows at the end of your line, because lines go on forever and ever. That is it. Questions on that? Eva.
Not the first one, the actual paper. The first one, paper, it's like a banana or a pencil.
I think it's supposed to be a pencil.
Yeah,
Mine
it's
is
a
like-
banana.
Mine's real blurry.
Correct.
No, I think it's supposed to be a pencil.
Pencil.
I thought it was bending. It's a bendy pencil.
It is doing that.
Alright.
I didn't put that image there, it was already there.
Yeah. It's just wanted to.
Alright. Number 2. Your y-intercept here is at -4. Anytime you see a whole number, think about that as a fraction. It's really over 1. And it's positive. What directions could I go to make a positive slope?
Up into the right.
Up and to the right, or down and to the left. Now, these arrows that I'm doing is not a necessary thing for you to do. As long as you know the directions, you don't have to do that. But if it helps you remember them, do it. So this would be up 3 to the right one, or down 3 to the left one. I can definitely go up 3, right one, as many times as possible.
I'm not going to be able to make this one. So.
You can get a ruler. It might help. From my y-intercept, I cannot go down 3 and left 1. So I wouldn't like extend my graph or anything. I don't need to do that. I would just stop here and connect all my points. Any questions on that one? If you have a whole number, I'm sorry, we did that. If we have a fraction, we don't need to like make up numbers. We're just using the numbers in the fraction. So we would have a y-intercept of 2, slope of 2/5, and it's positive again. So again, up to right 5, or down to left 5. As many times as you can. Sometimes you'll have a bunch of points, sometimes you'll have minimum 2 points, and it could be anything in between. Questions so far? We're going to do one more of these, and then I'll let you pick some that you may or may not want to do. For number 4, it's a fraction again, but the negative means that only one thing is going to be negative. One of your directions is going to be negative. So plot your point at 1, and we can go down 3 and to the right 4. Right? Or we can go up 3 and to the left 4. Only one of your numbers is going to be negative, not both. If you make them both negative, you're going to end up with a positive. So it should look something like that. Questions on that one? Look at numbers 5 through 9. Do you want to go over any of those? Have questions about any of those? What's your y-intercept here? 0. So even though it doesn't say it, you have to know that that y-intercept is 0, so you would place a point at your origin, and then your slope would still be the same. So we can go up 4 to the right 1, or down 4 to the left 1. Something like that. Any others? 5 through 8? Yes. 7. We can do 7. For 7, your y-intercept is at -4. What is your slope here?
1.
1 over 1, and it's positive. So we can go up 1, right 1 as many times as possible. Down 1, left 1, just once. We are going to do one of those, yes. So we'll start with 10, and then we'll move on to 11. All the other ones we just did were in slope-intercept form. These ones are not. So we have to get it back in slope-intercept form before we do anything else. Anyone remember how we do that? Franco?
Minus x.
Yes. To both sides. So then we'd have 2y equals, I'm going to switch the order of these two, -x plus 4.
And then you just divide by 2.
Correct.
For all
To everything. So we have y equals, make this a fraction, and x next to it, and then plus 2. So the hardest part about this is you may have to convert it first before you wrap it up. So then our y-intercept would be 2, our slope is negative. So we can go up 1 to the left 2 as many times as possible, down 1 to the right 2 as many times as possible. Precious, so you still want to see 11? Yes. Why? So we're going to do similar, but now we would do what first? We just need to get it back into slope-intercept form. So what would be our first step? By doing what? Not adding, subtracting. -2y equals, switch those, -3x minus 6. And then divide everything by -2, but be careful with your signs. What would this equation become?
Y equals positive 3 divide by 2 x minus 3.
You're super
I mean,
close.
plus 3.
Plus 3. So then graph that. Ignore this dot that's on here. I don't know what that is. So we can go up 3 to the right 2, but in this case I can't go up 3, so I'm just going to go the opposite, down 3 into the left 2. Okay. It's like super impatient. Like I'm not doing it fast enough.
How do you know whether or not you need to keep the fraction for the division part?
If you can divide this and get a whole number, then you can just put the number. But if you can't divide this and get a whole number, leave the fraction. Right. Look on on the next page, numbers 12 through 21, which of those do we want to see, go over, have questions about? 21. Any others? 12, 21, any others? So we'll start with 12 through 16 through 21, then any others, and then we'll move on. For number 12, what would be our first step? Brian? Correct. Y equals, switch the order of these two, minus x, or negative x, minus 2. We don't have anything next to y, so we don't have to do anything else, except graph it. So our y-intercept is at negative 2, our slope is negative 1. So we can go up 1, left 1 as many times, as possible. Or down 1, right 1 as many times as possible. Questions on that one? For 16, what's our first step? Usually that's going to be your first step in all of these unless your x term is negative. So 3y equals negative x minus 3. When we divide everything by 3, what would our new equation become? Brian?
Y equals negative 1 over 3 minus 1.
You are missing one thing. X. And then graph that. This would be up 1, left 3, down 1, right 3. I can't go another 3, so that's as many points as I can draw. Make sure you are filling up your graph with all the points and drawing arrows. Right, and then 21. What's the first step?
Minus x. No. Yeah, minus.
Minus 3x. With this one, because we subtracted it with 0, you can either leave it like this or put y equals negative 3x plus 0, either or. So then we would start at 0, and we can go up and left or down and right. And that's as far as we could go with that. Other questions on this page we want to see, go over, have questions about? I think your next page is this. Yes. If it says graph vertical and horizontal lines, what should you be thinking?
$40.
$40. So for number 7, we have a y equals. So that's going to be a horizontal line. So along your y-axis, find when y is negative 5. I know it's a little blurry. Try your hardest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Plot a point at that point. and draw a horizontal line through it. Horizontal, left and right. And that is it. So then for number 8 is opposite. This is an x equal, so it's a vertical line up and down. So along your x-axis, find when x is -1 and plot a point. And then draw a vertical line through that point. And that is it. Do we need to see 9 or 10? These questions are kind of going back to slope, just so, because it's all kind of related. What is the slope, not the equation, of the line y equals 5? I like the confidence, but not undefined, 0. So if you need to, go back to your Hoy books. So then the slope of x equals -2 is undefined. Now this next one is meant to trick you, but what would the slope of x equals 0 be?
0.
It's still undefined. Even though it has a 0, it's still an x. Right, so be very mindful of whatever questions are asking. If it's asking about the slope, be thinking about slope, not the equation. It's asking about the equation. Keep those separate. Okay, we're going to graph these two and then talk about the differences. So y equals 3, I'm going to graph over here. Y equals 3x over here. Go ahead and graph those two. And look at both. What differences do you see? Say that again, Joseph. Okay, one is slanted, one is not. What other differences do you see? Anthony, are you raising your hand? No. Okay. Yes, the equations are different. How? Let's specify. How are they different? I'm going to amend that. One has 2 variables and one only has 1. Any other differences? Pastor? Talking about the slopes? Okay. So one has a positive slope, one has a 0 slope. If it was vertical, it would be an undefined slope versus positive. What about x and y intercepts? Are there any differences there? Julia?
The y-intercept on the first one,
Yes.
and then the second one is 0.
So they have different y-intercepts, yes. Does this one have an x-intercept?
No.
Where this line crosses the x-axis?
Oh, yeah, so
Yeah. What about this one?
No.
No. So one of them will have an x or a y-intercept, depending on if it's x equals y equals. And then if it has both variables, it'll have both. So think about those differences when you're asked to graph these. That way, maybe when you think about those, it'll help you determine how you should be graphing it. Right. The pages, skip over the next page. We're going to come back to that after we do intercepts for Tuesday. Look at the very last 2 pages. Find any questions you have that you want to go over. Yeah. Did you do the e-haul pass? Okay. So for number 12, this is an x equals, so we should be thinking with us. Because it's an x equals, is this going to be a horizontal or vertical line? Vertical. So find when x equals -5, put a point there, draw a vertical line through it. Did you do it? Not yet. Did you do it? Yes. It is not. Hold on, let me refresh it. Sometimes it's slow.
No, it doesn't time. There's too many people.
Ah, okay. Try again in a couple minutes. Julia. 10, yeah. Okay, for 10, this is in slope-intercept form, so we don't have to do anything to this. We just need to graph. So y-intercept is 3. Slope is 7/3. And it's positive, so up and right or down and left. We can't go up 7, so we gotta go down 7. 7 and left 3. So there would only be 2 points on this one. Don't extend your graph, just stop wherever you can, or wherever the graph ends. Any others? If we don't have any other questions, you guys can go back and practice the graphs we didn't do in here. You could be working on Khan Academy, the ones from last week if you didn't do those, the 2 that are due tomorrow. If you haven't done those, you can be working on the 2 graphing ones that are due in 2 weeks, so you don't have to worry about them. Whatever you're doing, be actively working, so I shouldn't see you on your phones the entire time. And then let me know if you